he ever make it out alive.
Small town in the middle of nowhere that was
Let's
like
get
a
into
tiny
it, though.
tumor on the artery that was Interstate 40.
Okay.
Naturally, this meant there weren't many jobs to choose from. By the time I was 18, I knew I wanted to move away, but I had no money, so I got the only job I could, the graveyard shift at the gas station. It was miserable hours and
Graveyard shift is a wild work, bro.
Nothing to do except keep the store open for late night travelers. I worked there for about 6 months from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., Monday through Saturday. It was monotonous and mind-numbing, and it was all I did. I was always too tired during the day and had become an antisocial hermit. I saved up money, little by little. I spent every hour there.
Was it only one pump?
Finally packing all my stuff into my truck and driving until I saw the ocean for the first time. I worked there for about 6 months from 10
why is it
p.m. to
only
7
one
a.m.,
pump?
Monday through Saturday.
Why is it
was
only one
monotonous
pump at
and
that
mind-numbing,
gas station?
And it was all I did. I was always too tired during the day and had become an antisocial hermit.
That's what happens low key when
saved
you
up
just working for money. When you just working for money and you hate what you do, but the only reason why you there is for it's for bread. That's what happens to you. You hate waking up to your job. It couldn't be me. It can't be me. It can't be me. I gotta have more purpose than just trying to chase money. I really can't. You know what I'm saying?
Money, little by little. I
So,
spent
yup, I
every
know the
hour
feeling.
there daydreaming about finally packing all my stuff into my truck and driving until I saw the ocean for the first time in my life. That dream kept me there. But I was waiting for something to happen that would make me leave before my goal of saving $10,000.
Okay.
One night, I got my wish in the worst of ways. The first half of the evening had gone normally.
That
Then
boy
it hit
slumped.
3 a.m., the deadest hour of the night. That was always when I took my 30-minute break. People rarely came in while I was off the clock, but I still helped them. That night, I was doing my usual break routine of lying on the floor on a blanket when I heard a vehicle roll into the station and shut off the engine. I stayed put since I didn't expect them to come inside.
He's sleeping inside of the gas station? Is that something that usually people do when they work the night shift? That's wild. That's actually wild. I ain't never seen that before. He got a whole mattress and pillow and cover set behind there. He went to IKEA before he came here.
Several minutes passed, and I didn't hear anything.
So he said he heard somebody roll up. Why is he surprised about that? If you sleep, you get fired. I'm work. Hey, but he was on his break, so maybe it was okay. Maybe it was okay. But I'm just saying, a whole blanket and pillow though, really, bro? He real life trying to get comfortable.
That night, I was doing my usual break routine of lying on the floor on a blanket when I heard a vehicle roll into the station and shut off the engine. I stayed put since I didn't expect them to come inside. Several minutes passed, and I didn't hear anything. I figured
Might as well.
they would have finished pumping their gas and left, which meant I would have heard them start their engine. Finally, I got up to see what was happening. What I saw sent a chill down my spine.
Ooh.
There was a man parked at the pump, standing next to an old white windowless van.
Okay.
He was staring across the pavement into the store.
That's what he looked
When I
like
came
a
into
ghost
view,
came.
He turned his head and looked directly at me.
Okay.
We stared at each other for an uncomfortable amount of time before he finally walked very slowly into the store. He entered and stopped on the doormat.
That's his
staring at me
cousin.
For another awkward
Has
few
to be.
seconds. I asked him if he needed help with anything. Then he walked up to the counter and put down a $50 bill. I asked what he wanted, and in a very deep, raspy voice, he slowly asked for a single cigarillo, a lighter, all these $1 bottles of Fireball, and the rest on gas. I asked how many bottles he wanted, and he grabbed 2 handfuls from the display by the register and dropped them on the counter. In total, it was 12 bottles. After all that, there was still about $30 for gas.
Okay.
Hi. We're
Come
Cherry.
on, man. Not with the ads.
lost
Not
you at
today,
Cherry. We did
please.
it.
Watch out. Bro, why did he look so scared when he seen a customer roll up? What was he scared about? I thought that he was gonna say that he seen somebody stuffing somebody in the back of a car or something. Why he stand up and look shook like that? It wasn't even that serious.
I started to put the little bottles in a bag, but the man quickly grunted to say no. He picked up one of the bottles and handed it to me. I declined
Must
to
be.
take it at first, but he aggressively shoved it at me, so I decided to go along with him. He opened one for himself, and we both chugged them down at the same time. Immediately after, he opened another and poured the whole thing in his mouth, dropping the empty bottle onto the floor. Then he opened another and drank it too. I told him to stop dropping them, but he ignored me. I didn't get paid enough to fight him, so I let him do his thing. He downed every single last one.
Oh yeah, he don't want his job. You was right, Leo. He getting fired, bro. He drinking on the job. You know they got cameras, right? So they just seen you take a little swig. They seen that, bro. What are you doing? Yeah, he don't care about seeing the ocean. Isn't that why he said he's doing this job? So one day he can roll out there and have enough gas money to go see the ocean. Ain't that what he said? You don't want to see the ocean, bro. He's going to jail. Something gonna happen. Something gonna happen. At the very least, he's getting fired. At the very least. Oh my, Murchie got peer pressured into doing this, to getting fired. His whole life story was to make enough money to go see the ocean. Now your dream is ruined because you got peer pressured by some bum that just came in at 3 a.m.
Finally, he took his cigarillo, unwrapped it, and stuck it into his mouth. He put his lighter in his pocket and left with a quiet "thank you." I was amused but also freaked out. Nobody should drive after drinking that much, I thought. And was he also about to smoke the cigar while pumping his gas?
He a little too interested.
So about a minute after he walked out the door, I peeked outside to see what he was doing. To my horror, I saw the worst possible outcome.
Okay.
The man was standing at the back door of his van, cigar in his mouth, holding the nozzle to his side, pouring gasoline all over the ground. I gasped in shock.
Ah, nah, it's time to go. It's time to go. Boy, I'm immediately getting up out of there. Boy, I'm immediately getting up out of there, boy. I do not care. Leaving everything. I'm gone.
As he stared at me with an empty expression. I snapped into action and ran out of the store to push the emergency stop button on the outside wall, but when I got to it, I realized something heartbreaking. The protective covering over the button had been padlocked.
Yeah, it's time to
shut
leave.
While I was on the floor.
It's just time to go now.
I turned back to the man spewing gasoline all over the station. He was looking at me still. His clothes were drenched in fuel.
Nah,
the smell
bro.
of gasoline was overpowering. I screamed at him, begging him to stop. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the lighter, put it up to the cigar, and then sparked the flint. The vapors ignited into a massive fireball, instantly engulfing him and the van in flames. The heat and pressure blew me back and singed my face. When the initial blast dissipated, the entire station was still in flames. The nozzle
That's
was
wow.
spewing what looked like lava all over the ground. I saw the man still standing, burning silently before falling to the ground, almost looking calm. I finally came to my senses and ran, dialing 911. By the time firefighters arrived,
that's truly a nightmare, bro.
The gas station was a charred heap, and the flames were
talking about nice fireworks. You out for that one?
From being totally destroyed, and luckily, my truck was parked in the back and came out unscathed. Human remains were found in the van, evidently in a tied-up position, charred beyond recognition. Weeks later, my dad called and told me dental records revealed it was his wife. Nobody knows for sure what happened between them that caused the incident. But I didn't stick around to find out. I skipped town a few days later, and I've never been back. I don't think I ever can. That town is now the location of my worst memory. The night I watched a man burn himself alive.
You don't want to smoke.
Yeah, bro, that's some dark stuff right there. That's some dark stuff right there, boy. I ain't gonna lie to you. That was only like what? How long? I guess we got time for two. We got time for two. Watch out.
I used to be a police officer for 22 years.
That was only like 5 minutes. Let's get another one.
In law school, man burned himself alive.
That's tough.
I used to be a police officer for 22 years.
Talking about got some booze before dying though. Like that was worth it. That was not worth it. I do not care.
I retired due to a back injury, and now I'm in law school. My fellow students are often curious about my experience on the force. One thing they ask about is the scariest thing I went through on the job, and I always have the same answer. It was my first year as an officer. Back then, I was stuck on the graveyard shift.
Okay, this is our officer who had the pole out. This is the officer who had the pole out. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on.
I had a partner, Kurt, who had a little more experience. We had a set neighborhood to patrol. We would drive
He was
up and
also
down
my
the blocks
twin.
for about
That's
an
what he
hour.
should have said.
Then we would park and shut off the engine for a little while before getting back on the street. When there was a call, we answered it. When there was a drunk driver, we pulled them over. Sometimes stuff just happened right in front of us, and this was one of those times. Kurt and I were rolling down one of the more dangerous streets in the neighborhood when a woman came running out of an alley,
For real?
screaming for help. She was waving her hands in the air, wearing dirty clothes, and had thin, greasy hair, so it seemed like she was living in that alley.
Yuck.
Kurt parked the car up on the curb, and I got out to help the woman. She was completely hysterical, sobbing incoherently. By the time I calmed her down and asked what was wrong, Kurt was with us. She pointed back to the alleyway and screamed that her boyfriend was dying. She said it over and over. He's dying, he's dying, he's dying. But she never said what he was dying from.
You see, she has
began
been
at
in
that moment
Usain
to
Bolt.
topple over onto me, hanging from my shoulders and still sobbing and screaming.
Okay,
Kurt
get
told
off
to
me.
Stay put with her while he checked
Please.
out the alley.
Calm down,
Then he
man.
walked off into the shadows while I was stuck with a wailing wreck of a woman. She was totally inconsolable.
I need
tried
her to get
calm
off of
down,
me.
But she was grabbing at my clothes, begging
Nah.
me to save her boyfriend. I kept pushing her away, telling her to stay put.
Thank you.
But she kept getting in my personal space, putting me on edge and wearing my patience thin. I was over it quite quickly.
She was
So I
gone.
hollered over to Kurt. I was hoping for him to give any reason for me to ditch the woman that was climbing all over me. Instead, I heard nothing.
For real,
No
bro.
response. I shouted
She needs to
again,
cool out.
even louder, but still had no word from Kurt.
It's up. It was a
I
setup,
knew
bro.
something
I
was
could
wrong.
tell.
So I had to make my way over to the alleyway. However, when I looked down at the woman at my chest,
She's
I
smiling.
noticed that suddenly she was very calm. Then I saw her arm at my side.
That's
trying
why.
to-
That's exactly what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say. You don't let nobody climb all over you like that when you an officer. They're going for your gun. You see what I'm saying? That's why I said, get off me, man. Please get off me. You know what I'm saying? Boy, I would have immediately, as soon as I seen her reach for her, grab that, bow, pistol whip, right in her forehead. It's up.
holster my service weapon. I shoved her away as hard as I could, but she pulled out a knife and came running right back at me.
Ooh,
I
1v1.
acted on my reflexes and quickly
Pistol
holstered
whip.
my weapon, firing
gonna
it
shoot her.
3 times.
Ooh,
The woman
ooh,
collapsed
ooh.
at my feet. I stepped back, afraid she might try to cut my ankles.
Cut your
She was
ankles.
silent for a
She's
moment
done.
Before she groaned in pain, gasped for air, and reached for her wounds, then passed out. I knew she would most likely die before the ambulance arrived.
That's
And I
tough.
couldn't help her, as I had to help Kurt. But I called in for backup and medical. Just after finishing my sentence to dispatch,
Why
the
his
initial
lips so
reflexive surge of
black?
numbness went away, and a wave of dread washed over me.
Smoking on that
chilling my
kush.
blood to ice. I was
Headshot.
alone. I had just killed a woman, and my partner was in dire need of help. If there was any hope of saving him, if he was even still alive, I had to enter that alley and confront the other perpetrator, or perpetrators, however many of them there were. I could wait for backup, but those few minutes might be the difference between Kurt living and
Ooh,
dying.
she leaking
The
everywhere.
weight and reality of the duty I swore myself to suddenly became crystal clear. I steeled myself and approached the entrance of the alleyway, with my
Right.
service weapon still drawn.
Let's
It
go.
was a dead end. Light from the street illuminated the first 15 feet and cast
Uh-huh.
a shadow into it. But after that, it was pitch black. I took
Turn
out
your
my
light on.
flashlight
There we
with my
go,
left
there we
hand
go.
And positioned it right under my wrist. I could see to the end of the alley, but there was nobody in sight. There was a dumpster.
I gotta
and a
learn
stack
aim
of
from
cardboard
bro.
boxes on one side, and a small shelter with a tarp on
Okay.
the other.
Okay.
I shouted in
That was a good one.
demanding
That was a good one.
whoever was in there
I'll
come
give you
out with
that.
their hands up. Then a shot rang out. I heard it was
Ooh.
by me, so I immediately took cover around the corner.
Ooh,
My
okay.
heart was pounding, and it felt like I couldn't breathe fast enough.
He was smooth.
I called for more much-needed backup, and as I was speaking,
You was joking?
a figure
Was you
sprinted
though?
out of the alleyway. For a moment, I didn't comprehend what I had just seen. Then I realized it was a man running away at top speed. I quickly dropped my radio and flashlight and aimed at him, but by then, he was already over 50 feet away and getting further every second. If I missed, the stray could go straight through someone's window, so I made the decision not to fire.
Okay, quick
Instead,
decision
I rushed
making.
into the alley to find Kurt. He was bleeding on the ground under the tarp,
Ooh.
and his head was bleeding. He was alive and just
Okay.
beginning to regain consciousness.
I thought they
While
got a
helping him,
headshot on
I
him.
saw that his service weapon was missing. I realized
Of
it had been
course.
stolen and used against me. Kurt survived, but unfortunately, the woman I shot died, and the other perpetrator
I was watching
never
his coaching
identified
training
or caught.
school.
However, it's likely he was arrested for some other crime later. To this day, I count that night as the most terrifying and inexplicable experience I went through on the force. You would never think that two people would coordinate an ambush on a pair of police officers to attempt to steal their weapons.
I
Probably
would.
just to stick up a gas station, but with enough desperation and drug-addled thinking, people are capable of anything. I only hope that man didn't end up hurting anybody else, but I know it's a fool's hope.
Help save lives.
Okay.
Donate plasma today.
That was both of them. That was both of them. W videos, you know what I'm saying? W reaction. We had some good reactions so far. I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up with the reactions though, you know what I'm saying? Now should I hop into Body or should we just go right into Mario Party? Mario Party might take a minute. I think we'll go to Mario Party actually. Yeah, that was a good one. But his scary story was nothing compared to that dude that lit himself on fire with the gasoline. Not at all. Not at all, bro.